Disasters caused by the air. Airport conspiracies. Mysteries of flying that have yet to be explained. This list analyzes some of the most puzzling, mind-boggling, and miles-wide mysteries connected to the numerous airplanes that suddenly vanished while in flight. Some of the secrets are older than a century. This video sheds light on some of the strangest, creepiest, and most inexplicable airline mishaps that will likely remain a mystery for the rest of time. Do you have any ideas about what may be causing these aircraft to disappear into thin air mysteriously? If you have any thoughts, we'd love to hear them in the comments section area below. Malaysia Airlines Flight ME 370. The mysterious disappearance of Flight 370 of Malaysia Airlines. As of March 8, Flight ME 370, which was supposed to travel from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing in 2014, vanished without a trace, has been presumed lost. A total of 239 passengers were on board. The aircraft's last known location was at 35,000 feet, with adequate fuel for several more hours of flight. They confirmed in July 2018 that a portion of the missing plane's wreckage had been located on Reunion Island. Unfortunately, no more hints have surfaced since then. A lost airplane with maybe the most incredible notoriety in modern history. The disappearance of the Boeing 777 in 2014, when it was on its route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, remains one of aviation's biggest mysteries. The whereabouts of Flight ME 370, which vanished without a trace and took 239 people, remain a mystery. Even though search teams are still scouring the ocean for clues, hundreds of kilometers worth. Some have speculated that the aircraft flew to other islands or nations with unknown goods on board. Others have suggested that it was hijacked and forced to make an emergency water landing. Until now, no hypothesis has been verified, and the plane has not been located. Air France's 447th plane. On June 1, 2009, only 10 minutes after taking off from Rio de Janeiro, the electrical power in the cockpit of Air France Flight AF 447 suddenly went out, resulting in the deaths of all 228 people aboard the aircraft. A sudden loss of all electrical power caused the Airbus A330 to become unable to take off soon after it had lifted off. The aircraft crashed into the Atlantic, far from the Brazilian coast. This tragedy disproportionately impacted Ireland because 3 Irish medical professionals, Jane Deasy of Rathgar, County Dublin, Aisling Butler of Roscrea, County Tipperary, and Eitan Walls of Ballygowan, County Down, were killed as a direct consequence of it. The discovery of records of flights and conversations on black boxes lost at sea provided new information regarding the cause of the accident by revealing that the speed recorders on the aircraft had frozen over during a storm. Over more than 2 years, and at the cost of 31 million euros, it eventually found the search. Flight 19 and the Bermuda Triangle. On the afternoon of December 5, 1945, 6 people disappeared. That led to rumors of the Bermuda Triangle. 5 Navy Avenger planes, led by educator and pilot Charles Taylor, took off from Florida's Fort Lauderdale on a training mission. After being in the air for an hour and a half, the pilots said they felt lost and couldn't tell what was on the ground. Taylor radioed the Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale and told them that none of his compasses were working. Air station controllers tried their best to help the squad figure out where they were, but it didn't help. Due to bad weather, they couldn't get to land, and all 14 service members and crew members died when the plane crashed into the ocean. Even worse, one of the planes sent to find the training mission that had gone missing also disappeared. The PBM Mariner seaplane took off at 7:30 p.m. and was never seen or heard from again. Thought that all 13 of the crew had died. The Star Tiger goes missing in the Bermuda Triangle. The Star Tiger, a second BSAA plane, went missing on January 30, 1948. It was on its way from Santa Maria in the Azores to Bermuda. The flight took off in windy conditions, with 25 people on board, including a hero of World War II, Air Marshal Sir Arthur Conyngham. They flew low to avoid the gusts and followed a Lancastrian jet that was supposed to keep an eye out for bad weather. The plane had to fly straight into a storm to get to Bermuda on the fuel it had left. When the lookout plane returned just after 4 a.m., there was no sign of the Star Tiger. Given how low they were, It's possible that a strong gust of wind blew them into the sea, or that a broken altimeter and being tired from the long trip caused them to crash. Amelia Earhart disappears while circumnavigating the globe. Amelia Earhart pioneered flying. The two and navigator Fred Noonan took out on July 2, 1937. "We're trying to fly around the world in a Lockheed Electra." Earhart vanished in the Pacific, possibly near Howland Island. She flew alone across the Atlantic. Since then, experts and conspiracy theorists have been curious about Earhart's disappearance. Some believe she was an FDR spy caught by the Japanese, though it's more likely she ran out of gas and crashed. Some believe sand crabs took Earhart's body after her plane crashed on a Japanese island. People think she finished the trip, changed her name, and moved to New Jersey. Aliens may have taken her, as in Star Trek. Voyager's 1995 episode, The 37s. The mystery behind Flight 191. This one is dishonest in that it applies to many instances involving aircraft with a registration number spanning more than 4 decades. Minutes after departure from O'Hare International Airport in Chicago, American Airlines Flight 191 crashed, killing all 258 passengers and 13 crew members. That was one of the worst airline accidents in the history of American flights. While the X-15's pilot perished in a crash in 1967, the captain of JetBlue Airways Flight 191 reportedly had passenger restraints necessary after a panic attack. In 2012, several airlines have gotten rid of Route 191 because they believe it brings bad luck. The crash of Flight 571 in the Andes, an Uruguayan Air Force plane carrying 45 people, including a rugby union team from Montevideo, crashed into the Andes because of bad weather. 12 of the 45 people who were there died in the disaster. 6 more people died in the days that followed, and 8 more were killed when an avalanche hit the plane's wreckage, where they had taken shelter. When all their food sources ran out, the last 16 people on the ship ate each other to stay alive. They weren't found for 72 days when 2 passengers went on a 10-day trip through rough terrain and met a Chilean traveling salesman who fed them and told the police. When the movie Alive came out in 1993, it captured the story's spirit for all time. Egyptian Air Flight 990. Egyptair Flight 990 departed JFK on October 31, 1999, for Cairo. The plane's fate is unknown. All 217 individuals aboard the Boeing 767 perished in the crash south of Massachusetts. Co-pilot Gamal El Batouti had recently been penalized for sexual misbehavior by an Egyptair employee passenger. Hatem Rushdie, leader of the airline's pilots, said this was his last journey. "This is your final flight," El Batouti said. The flight recorder recorded El Batouti stating, "I trust in God," before turning off the autopilot and diving into the aircraft. Upon landing, he repeated it. Even with the pilot in the cockpit, the aircraft fell. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board determined that Batouti's caused the catastrophe, but couldn't explain why. The strange disappearance of the Star Ariel. Another BSAA plane, the Star Ariel, went missing on January 17, 1949. It was on its way from Bermuda to Jamaica. It was a plane that looked a lot like the Star Tiger, and when it took off, there was no sign of rough air. Communication problems, on the other hand, slowed down the flight. It went missing, and the search for the 20 people on board and the ground stopped on January 25. After research, it was found that the cause of the disaster was unknown. However, Don Bennett, the former director of BSAA, said that a known war-registered saboteur destroyed both the Star Tiger and the Star Ariel. He also said that Prime Minister Clement Attlee had stopped investigating what happened. Stardust Morse code. The BSAA Stardust, a civilian counterpart of the Lancaster bomber, disappeared between Buenos Aires and Santiago. Why did the aircraft crash? Reginald Cook, a prominent Air Force pilot, flew from Buenos Aires over the Andes on August 2, 1947 at 1:46 p.m. The radio operator sent one more Morse code transmission before the plane disappeared. Theories regarding what happened to the airliner and what the final message represents have evolved. These include UFO assaults, sabotage, and a scheme to blow up the aircraft to destroy diplomatic documents. The aircraft presumably hit a vertical snowfield. An avalanche covered the wreckage. In the Andes, two Argentine mountaineers recovered Stardust engine pieces and clothes. If you liked this video and found it informative, give it a thumbs up and tell us what you think in the comments. Please browse our channel and subscribe if you like what you see. That's it for now. The new videos will be up as soon as they're uploaded.